Hello and welcome to How I Play That. This is going to be the first video in a new tactical series where I go through tactics and combinations and ways of using certain individual units that I think are optimal or at least really good, and essentially the way that I will play them myself in the game. Now, I'm not a competitive player and I don't consider myself the top cheese finder general of the, the sort of competitive game side, but I definitely think that I know what's up, and I've got, I can generally make some pretty good armies, and if I take the gloves off, I can be fairly formidable. We're going to start with the Deathshroud today. I have done a video on them before about their Plague Spurt gauntlets. I'm not going to be talking about that today. I'm going to be just looking at the combat side of things. Now, they're against 20 Berserkers, as you can see. Why are they against 20 Berserkers? There's two reasons for that. One is that I don't have 10 intercessors or reavers or anything like that. I don't have any space marines to put them against, and I've also just done a video where I made the bold claim that berserkers are the best combat troops in the game, so it's some extra danger. Now, before I get started on this, I will just say that even though I'm not doing it in this video, I do think it's always going to be worth using the Champion of Disease stratagem to give one of your Deathshroud champions the Reaper of Glorious Entropy. It's an incredibly good relic. You can give it to anybody with this stratagem. You can give it to anybody with champion in their profile. So it doesn't have to be a Chaos Lord. You can give it to your play champion. And I think that there's never really going to be a circumstance where it's not worth doing that. It's a really good relic, and it's definitely going to be a nasty little surprise buried in a unit, hard to get rid of for your opponent. Definitely going to be good if you would lose your sweep attacks, of course, but I think you'll have enough for the rest of the squad. And the extra damage that it's going to give you versus tanks, monsters and things that you come across, I think it's really good. Now, as you can see here, I've got 3 Deathshroud and a Lord of Contagion. That might not be how you run them. Obviously, that's the sort of minimum squad size. The reason I've gone for that today is mainly because I will probably be running these myself, as I said, personally, in units of 4, and I will be putting them in a Land Raider. Now, I may deep strike them as well, but whether I get them out of a Land Raider or deep strike them, I'm expecting one to be killed by Overwatch. I think that's fair, and it's also just, I think, better to do these kind of videos with the sort of minimum recommended unit size rather than adding extra models in, just to see what the minimum size can do. So that's the reason for that. Now, it doesn't matter for this video what play company you run these as. I will be using something from the Inexorable. However, you don't need to be the Inexorable, because you do have the Flash Outbreak stratagem, which you can use. It costs you 2 command points. So obviously, if you were playing the Exonerable, it would save you 2 command points, but you could be Mortarion's Anvil, because that's good for Terminators. You could be Mortarion's Chosen Sons, which I would probably do personally in game, because then I could, if I wanted to, use the Plague Brewers stratagem to make their Plague Spurt gauntlets damage 2, and that would probably be quite worth it, I think. So just keep that in mind. You could be the Exonerable, but it's not too important, because you can just use Flash Outbreak if you need it. And that's important mainly for the Warlord as well, because what we're going to be looking at in this is mainly using the Ferric Blight Warlord trait. Now, you could, if you have this on your Lord of Contagion, then great, but you might not want it on him. You might want this Warlord to have what else? You might want him to have Arch Contaminator. You might want him to have any of the other good ones, because there's a lot of good Warlord traits you've got to choose from when you're playing Death Guard. I like Hulking Physique, Living Plague, shutting off all abilities. There's a lot of good Warlord traits. So you might not want the Ferric Blight Warlord trait on the actual Lord of Contagion with your unit. So it could be that you just buy this as an extra Warlord trait that you have on a character somewhere else, anywhere on the table. Could just be stuck on your tallyman down at the back somewhere, anywhere that you can fit it in. But you do need this Warlord trait. It's important that you manage to find a way of sticking this Warlord trait in to get this to work, because what we're going to do is, right now we're going to upgrade the champion, the Deathshroud champion. We're going to upgrade him with a deadly pathogen. and we're going to give him the acidic malady. It's 20 points, and it gives him an additional armor penetration and +1 strength, of course, because you need to remember all of the deadly pathogens, regardless of what else they do, they all give you +1 strength. And this is actually one of the most important things for me, because if you look at your plague champion, he's got 5 attacks base. Now that means that he has 10 attacks with his sweep attacks, of course, and right now off the bat he's weapon skill 2+, so he's hitting on 2s, he's wounding berserkers, in this case on 3s, and then he is AP -1, damage 1. Now that's, I mean, it's it's good. It is good. You know, Deathshroud got a nice buff just straight from 8th to 9th. They got a nice buff. They're much better now. It is nice having those 2 profiles, but it's not amazing. You know, probably going to make most of their saves at just -1 damage. Now the reason that I like upgrading the champion, and would always do this with the acidic malady. Now it doesn't have to be the acidic malady. It could be any of them. But I'm going to choose the acidic malady because this is going to make him strength 6. And at strength 6, you've popped nicely into that wound bracket to wound marines on 2s, because these are now toughness 3 corn berserkers. So he'll be strength 6, wounding them on 2s. You've now got 10 attacks, hitting them on 2s, rerolling 1s for the Lord of Contagion, wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s for the plague weapons. And of course you have another 8, 16 attacks from these other 2 guys, also hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, AP -1, rerolling 1s to hit. Now the reason I want this warlord trait is, again, whether it's on this warlord himself or it's another warlord somewhere else on the table, and I use Flash Outbreak for 2 command points. What I want is to put Ferric Blight on this unit so that the Man Reapers are now AP -2, and the Champion's Man Reaper at this point is now AP -3. So the champion on his own has got 10 attacks, hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s to hit, rerolling 1s to wound, AP -3. And then of course the other 2 Deathshroud have got their own 16 attacks between them, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, AP -2. Now that is pretty incredible to me. I think any unit champion that puts out 10 attacks, 10 attacks that hit on 2s, you know, wound on 2s, AP -3, it's pretty brutal. What I'm going to do now is just a quick round of combat with the champion and the Deathshroud. I won't be attacking with the Lord of Contagion because that's not the point. So we've got 10 attacks just from the champion himself, the champion of the Deathshroud. He's got a 1, 1, 1. He's got 1 miss, 9 hits. And he's wounding on 2s, couple more 1s, another 1. So he's got 8 through. He's got 8 through just by himself. They're AP -3. So at this point the berserkers are down to a 6+ armor save. They've made 1. So that's 7 wounds taken. Now in this case that's going to be 7 dead berserkers, but if you're playing Marines, it's going to be more like, you know, 3.5 dead Marines, 3 dead Marines out of 10, and a wound on another one. But that's okay, you're still getting there, and that's just the champion himself. Then we've got another 16 attacks coming from the other Deathshroud, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 3s, how many did they get there? 9 wounds through. These are AP -2, so it's 5 up saves for the berserkers now. They've made 3. That's another 6 dead. Now I think that's pretty good, and that's from a minimum squad size. You could have 4 Deathshroud, you could have maybe even 5 or so. Just from the basic 3, we've only now got 7 berserkers left out of 20. So you've done 13 wounds, Now that's 13 dead berserkers. If you were fighting marines or something, that's going to be about 7 marines dead, 6.5 marines dead out of 10. It's pretty good, I think. Okay, I set the berserkers back up because we're going to do it again. We're going to take another 10 attacks from the Plague Champion. See what he can do. It's got 10 hits this time. He's got 10 wounds this time. Berserkers need 6s, they've got 3 6s, so actually, even though the dice turned out differently, that's still the same 7 casualties as the first time. And then we have the 16 attacks from his friends, hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. Oh, the 2 hit, sorry, they all hit. Confused myself there and took away 2, but they've all hit. That's 16 hits, wounding on 3s. Re-rolling the 1s to wound. That's 1, 2, 3 felled. So that's now 13 wounds. Berserkers need 5 ups. They get 1, 2, 3. So a bit better this time. That is another 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at that. Look at that. Just disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting. Can't believe it. 3 berserkers left. Even berserkers aren't good enough to deal with the rest to deal with the rest of these Deathshroud now. There's only 3 of them left. Maybe if I left the champion with the power fist, that's only fair, isn't it? The champion with the power fist can stay. Maybe with his 10 power fist attacks will do some damage. But anyway, this is pretty terrible. I think you can agree this is pretty terrible. I'm not going to go for the smash attacks against a tank or something because ultimately they already have a good AP. They're already AP -3, I think, when they do their smash attacks. So it wouldn't really prove anything because you can, yeah, AP -3. You can imagine that if they're AP -4 now that is great, obviously, if you make these AP -4 with Ferric Blight. The champion would be AP -5, so nobody's getting armor saves against him. And only things with a 2+ armor save are going to be getting a 6+ save from the smash attacks from the rest of them. So I don't think I need to demonstrate that versus a tank or something because that will be terrible. I just really wanted to show, you know, Ferric Blight plus the acidic malady. Although again, you can really take any. You know, even if you didn't take the AP -1 acidic malady. Being AP -2 is fine. Really, the main point is that you're getting the Plague Champion up to strength 6 because that is just absolutely brutal with 10 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 6, you're wounding marines on 2s now, AP -2 or 3. Absolutely crazy. I think Deathshroud are immense, and if you had 6 of them like this, mine aren't painted yet, but if you had 6 of them like this, I don't think anything's going to stand in the way of that. I think you'll be mowing down people's armies. I'm very excited to use the Deathshroud. I haven't got any games yet. I haven't been able to meet anybody yet. But we're getting closer. Hopefully I'll do some games with the Deathshroud soon. And try out my beloved Land Raiders again. And I think I'm going to end the video there. I don't have anything else to say about the Deathshroud at the minute, seeing as I'm not going to be talking about their Plague Spurt gauntlets. I have done a video on that already. You know, it's okay. I don't really rate them. I just I'm going to be. I think it could be okay, to be honest. But I'm going to just really mainly focus on the combat aspect like this, because you know, this 20 berserkers. It's kind of weird. You know, it could be a, you know, a squad of orcs or anything. Could be absolutely anything. But I just thought that getting the extra AP was, you know, it's really potent and it's easy to do. There's nothing anybody can really do about it. You have the chimes of contagion on the champion, so you're getting everything well, you know, let's say this happens on turn 2, you're getting everybody within 6 inches because it's 3 inches plus 3 for the chimes of contagion. So you know, you're getting everybody with the contagion, and there's really nothing that anybody can do. All you got to do is spend the 2 command points on Ferric Blight. If your Lord of Contagion doesn't have Ferric Blight himself, if he has it already, then, you know, brilliant, that's 2 CP saved. But, you know, the point is you can do that from literally anywhere else on the battlefield. You know, it could be a talisman somewhere. As long as you've got that Warlord trait. If you use Flash Outbreak, you'll get that trait on the unit itself. So, brilliant. Thanks for watching if you did. and hopefully I'll be back pretty soon with some more videos like this.